Are you stagnant in your career and you want to learn some practical tips? Stick around for podcast episode 10, and I'll show you how to make yourself more sellable in your career and also some tips in terms of using AI. So the first step when using AI is obviously the generating the prompt. So some of the things we need to do is start classifying, putting those things together. So if you can get a notebook or even on your phone, you can start putting some of these pieces of information down so that you can copy it over to your favorite, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever you're using. So the first thing you want to do is you want to identify your career job title. So what is that job title that you're looking for? Are you looking to be a vice president of manufacturing? Are you looking at being a supply chain manager, quality inspector? What is it that you're looking for as a leader within your organization or even outside your organization in the future? So write down that job title. Also identify the actions that you are currently doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So put down, what are those things that you're currently doing? Are you reading books on what you're aspiring to be? Are you reading books on supply chain or how to become a black belt in Six Sigma? Write down those things that you're doing. Are you listening to certain podcasts? What are those podcasts? So those are critical things so that when you write this prompt, it understands some of those things that you're currently doing. As well, identify the education that you currently have and things that you've done in the last 12 months in regards to any education that you've taken. So we'll go into more of the developing this AI prompt, but once we get past that, I'll give you some of my personal advice on how you can basically 10 times your career in 12 months and get yourself established so that you can start either being promoted internally or you can start applying to jobs outside of your organization to move into or move towards the job that you're looking for. So the first thing as a prompt, you want to put in your approximate age. Again, you don't want to give too much detail. Some people are skeptical in either way, so I'm not going to say put in your exact age, your name and everything, but put in your approximate age. So if you're 43, you could put 40, 42, just put an approximate age and take a copy of your resume, maybe remove the company names, but you can leave the dates and the sort of descriptions of the job titles that you've had and that's going to be thrown into this prompt as well. Next thing, identify the education that you currently have and certificates. If it's already on your resume, well, then you'll be able to add that in as a file. And identify the ideal job title and functional group that you're looking to work within. So as well, identify the flexibility you have. So when we're creating this prompt, you want to give your flexibility so that when it's providing you a plan for the next 12 months, it needs to kind of know what your flexibility. Do you have a family? Do you have kids? Do you volunteer? Are you going to church and committed at church? What are those things that you have to work around outside? So provide what your flexibility is. Perhaps you can say I'm available three hours a week outside of work to work on these particular things. As well, have you attended any conferences? So that's really, really important to know. As well, after what's your work availability internally? Are you flexible in terms of being able to listen to a weekly podcast at work or able to go on to, is your company flexible in allowing you to go to conferences, maybe quarterly, maybe weekly? So what is the willingness of the company? Put that in the prompt as well. That'll be really critical. Are you currently a membership or do you have a designation? Put that stuff in there and what is the support of your company? Would they support those types of things? Would they support your education? Would they support memberships? And what is your willingness to spend on these types of things if your company is not willing to spend the money? So add that in there, as whether you can put dollars or just your general willingness. So now you're going to put all of this information in. I gave you a general idea of the information to put in, but you can tweak it, but put something of that nature so you've got a solid prompt for AI to generate a plan for you. Now, what you're going to ask AI to do is you're going to ask it to create 12 career advancement plans, including education, designation, what are the monthly, weekly, daily tasks, and you want it as 12 plans based on the cost being high, medium, low, or no cost, and the time investment being high, medium, or low. So when you multiply those 4 times 3 items together, you get 12 different advancement plans. You're going to spit that in, you're going to get 12 plans. Now review them, look at them in detail, see which one fits closely with your particular situation that you're in, based on your willingness to spend, based on your company's willingness to spend, based on the time commitment you want to give to it. So see what's the closest one that matches you for a 12-month plan. And you can even throw some additional information and say, can you tweak this? Can you tweak that? And now you've got a solid plan for 12 months, something that if you do it, the plan's useless unless you actually commit to doing it for 12 months. I'm not talking about 5 years, 10 years. I'm talking about 12 months. Focus solidly for 12 months. And at the end of the 12 months, see where you are. I guarantee if you actually follow through with the plan that was created for you, you're going to be significantly further ahead than many others and yourself than if you didn't do that. So it's really important. Use the plan. Now, in terms of some stuff that I would suggest from a plan perspective, look around and see, if you're wanting to be a president of a company, do you have an MBA? Do you have a business designation or such? So look around to see what types of things are in your area. And you can jot those different items down and talk to your company and say, hey, would you be willing to spend this money on this evening program that's going to take the next 12 months or whatever it is? The next thing is designations. You could even do this in ChatGPT or one of your favorite AI programs, but ask, okay, what would be the most valuable designation that's the highest impact in terms of putting on your resume and making you sellable, and maybe has the least commitment or the least amount of time, those types of things, or rate them by cost and amount of time investment, and then you determine which designation you want to go after. Can you take on additional responsibility at work? So you can go to your boss and you can ask your boss, listen, I've been in this position for this many years. I am looking to take on additional responsibility. Now, there's nothing wrong with asking that question. The worst thing that's going to happen is say no, uninterested. But there's potentially 3 ways this is going to, 4 ways maybe. They're going to say nope, not interested, and that's that. They're going to say no, not interested, and come back to you in 3 months and say, hey, did you want to do this additional thing? They could say, yeah, we've got additional tasks you can take on within your own responsibility, or currently or later on, they could say, hey, we want to give you this new position, depending on how well you're performing currently in your current job. So those are responses that you can get. So there's no fear, there's no harm in asking the question. Join a membership of some sort of, whether it's a supply chain or quality or manufacturing, or business type membership group. That's something to look at. Online events. There's so many online events. You looked in LinkedIn, for instance, you'll see there's tons of things you can register. Maybe doing one of those every week. If it takes up half an hour of your time, whether at work or not work, that's an investment into your future career. So this is something to look at, and typically those things are free because they're trying to sell a product to you, but you're also learning because they brought in a special guest that knows a lot about a certain topic. So that's something else you can do. LinkedIn groups. So there's so many LinkedIn groups. You can start networking, search, and pick a group. Don't spend the next 3 months trying to pick the perfect group. Just pick a group and start working with it. Give it a month. Try and see if that's the right group for you. But don't just try something and say, no, it's not good, and stop, and then never do it again. So connect with a group on LinkedIn. Quarterly conferences. Ask your company if they'd be willing to send you away to a particular conference so that you can improve your skill at work in an investment to the company. So you would look for a bunch of different ones. In my opinion, go with a couple of maybe the larger invested type conferences. And if they say no, okay, then bring it back and pick one of the smaller ones. But start big and then work your way back. And then pick the top 3 books in your particular field that will help you in becoming stronger and moving towards that career that you're looking for. And read those 3 books over the next 12 months, because you'll have now read 3 books improving your skill in that particular field that's going to help you in your long-term career. If you didn't do this, you wouldn't have read those 3 books. So you're only 3 books closer to your final career goal. Learn from your coworkers. Your coworkers in their various departments, they have a lot of skill on the things they do. If you lack in skill on something and it's going to help you, ask your coworker if they can teach you about this program or how they do this in their day-to-day function. You can gain a lot of experience from your coworkers, and I think that's such a missed opportunity that people don't realize. Instead of fighting with your coworkers, learn from them. And that sort of puts everything in a nutshell. You're driving your career significantly quicker if you do these types of things in the next 12 months than if you don't. Don't sit around just watching this video. Again, if you need help on actually putting this together, putting a plan together, reach out to me, leave a comment, and then I can connect with you and maybe coach you along in your progress. Maybe you're a junior person in a company, you want to grow. I've given lots of advice to many of my employees at the different companies I've worked at, and I've seen them move on in their career. And I'm always willing to help coach people along.